Manchester Metropolitan is one of the UK's leading sustainable universities, as consistently ranked by the People and Planet University League. The university is pledged to reach a zero-carbon future by 2038, with emissions already reduced by 61.6% since 2005. Manchester Metropolitan contributes to a sustainable future by keeping sustainable design at the forefront of any activities or developments on campus. Research and investment into renewable energy is a key part of the university's sustainability strategy, alongside new and more efficient means of production and manufacture that are designed, developed and implemented at the university. Research across the university also contributes to sustainability across many fields such as conservation, climate science, greener and more resilient communities, sustainable fashion, inclusivity, education for sustainable development, and many, many more. Finally, sustainability is embedded in teaching at MMU, with the target to have all students leaving the university with skills and knowledge in sustainability. In this video, we will hear from some of the experts working at Manchester Met to bring about this vision for a sustainable future.
My name is Dan. I'm a Sustainability Officer as part of the Sustainability team in Professional Services, and we work with departments across the university to help embed sustainability in everything that we do. And I suppose a few key highlights of things that have happened recently. We've been ranked top 3 in the People and Planet League table, and that's been a top 3 position in the last decade. And a couple more things I suppose to mention at this stage would be we're looking to embed sustainability in all courses by 2026 and hopefully become a net zero carbon university by 2038 as well. So we've got a whole plethora of different things that students can get involved in, everything from sustainability ambassadors. It's a paid experience to assist us with putting on all the events, campaigns and even video content throughout the year. And one of the campaigns that they get to work on is the Climate Action Week, which we held the first one back in November, which was a week worth of different types of events, activities to really hammer down the message of climate action and taking it from an awareness piece to actually instigating behavioural change for both students, staff and the community. Other things to get involved in that I would say is the Sustainability Fund, which is up to £250 that is available to staff and students to put forward their sustainable projects, and hopefully we can bring them to life. The Carbon Literacy Project. And we have the Met Munch team, which is an award-winning team that puts together for both students, staff and the community a variety of different sessions and educational experiences. They hire students, they work externally with communities, they do a whole host of different projects which are really good for students to get involved in. And finally, as we are on Burley campus, it is the Orchard Workshop and Woodland sessions where we bring students together and staff as well as community members to be able to learn some practical skills across the orchards, the woodland, as well as improving the biodiversity across campus. So in terms of skills and experience that students can get that will help them in their future careers, sustainability is and will be a key aspect of every single job in the future. At Man Met, we support the Greater Manchester strategy for implementing sustainability as part of that green careers and that future progression for students. Some of the practical things that we do is we put on a host of different sessions, such as the mushroom workshop that we put on a couple of weeks ago, that enabled students to learn about low cost, low carbon ways to kind of make food and gain those skills that they can potentially use with other students or community members as well. Some of the other things that we do is we hold the Orchard Workshop and Woodland sessions, where we work with local community volunteers and charities to be able to really get that diverse approach of starting conversations between students, between staff members, between communities, to really start that change, behavioural change on a conversational level, where hopefully we can then slide some of the kind of more scientific, sustainable information and messages in during those sessions as well. So in terms of what personally motivates me to get involved in sustainability, and I suppose what maintains my enthusiasm within this area as well, is seeing the change on the ground, and as I said, the conversations will be able to provide the platform for people across different cultures and areas to really get together, share their own experiences, but whilst providing the knowledge, information on key sustainable topics that are currently affecting people, not just here but globally as well, and just be able to see those conversations take place after you've provided the kind of the space, whether it's online or in person. That's the thing that really drives me, I suppose, within sustainability. So at Man Met this year, we introduced the first Climate Action Week, which was a week's worth of different events, activities, competitions, where we wanted to provide the platform for staff, students and the community to get involved with an aspect of sustainability that was important to them. So whether it was, for example, a sustainable supper social, where they were learning to cook different meals, we're using a variety of new and interesting locally grown ingredients. And I suppose that's one key project that I've worked on so far, as I've only been at the university since January this year. But I think just seeing the inspiration come out of that week, working with staff students across the university, and seeing departments come to the sustainability team with all the brilliant ideas that they wanted to kind of bring to life and create, was just amazing to see. And I'm looking forward to continuing that project into 2023.
In that last section, we heard from Dan and the sustainability team. We talked about lots of exciting opportunities and projects going on in sustainability at MMU. On screen now are several QR codes to link to the things Dan was talking about. Feel free to explore these now or come back to them after you finish watching the video. Of particular interest are the chance for you to become a sustainability ambassador or get funding to support your own sustainability project or effort through the Sustainability Fund. Next, we will hear from two members of the MMU team at the forefront of developing new, more sustainable technologies. The first is Carl Diver at Print City, who works in exploring and creating new methods and applications of scanning and 3D printing. These technologies have the potential to revolutionise our means of manufacture, production and design, by creating less waste, reducing transport emissions, and reducing the energy consumption of manufacture. The second is Amr Gaffer from the Hydrogen Fuel Cell Centre at MMU. Amr and the Fuel Cell Centre are pioneering the widespread use of hydrogen fuel cell technology to allow more efficient and greener energy consumption. These technologies will play a key part in the university's commitment to a net zero future. Both of these teams are driving innovation at the university. While watching these interviews, think about how your own degrees, skills and knowledge relate to this kind of work. To implement, apply and make the future envisioned by these teams a reality, we need people from every discipline and background. We need everything from engineers, communications, marketing, changes in legislation, community outreach, funding, planning and development, but also remember the human side of applying new technologies. So think about how you could play a part in the future envisioned by these teams.
Hi, my name is Carl Diver. I'm the director here at Print City, and Print City is a 3D printing facility here at Manchester Metropolitan University, where we allow students and companies to come in and work with us around 3D printing. There's a real push at the moment, I guess, since the pandemic as well, and supply chains being disrupted around the world, and also the climate challenge that we're going through, to be more efficient in how we operate and how we produce our products. And that's really creating an opportunity for 3D printing, where we can design and optimize the design of what we're doing. We're doing additive manufacturing rather than subtractive manufacturing. So there should be less waste when we design things. We can design and print close to the customer so that you're not shipping parts all around the world. So here at Print City, we're developing our new technologies around kind of 3D printing, making 3D printing accessible, making it fun for our students and also for companies. So we have close to 70 printers in the facility across 7 or 8 different technologies. We also have a program running that's supporting companies within Greater Manchester, and companies can come in, explore the technology, get the support and the advice from the academics and the technical staff that we have here. So we've got a wonderful, I think, ecosystem here in Manchester in the northwest. With Manchester being one of the fastest growing cities in the UK, we've got a lot of interest around digital and sustainability within Manchester as well, and all of the universities. So we have a large student population. We have a lot of startup companies and driving innovation really. So there's a lot of interest in kind of new technology adoption, being disruptive as well. So I think we're in a great location from that point of view. A lot of the work that we do in Print City has sustainability at the core. So a lot of our research projects at Print City focus on sustainability. And as I said earlier, really, additive manufacturing is all about, rather than subtractive manufacturing where we start with a large block, we're only adding material where we need to. So it's more sustainable in that sense as well. Here in Print City, I think every day is unique. We're seeing different customers come in, whether it's our internal customers like our students and academic staff, or external customers like companies coming in. It's nearly sector agnostic, I would say. We see stuff happening in the fashion sector, we see stuff happening in jewellery, we see opportunities in architecture, in engineering, in aerospace and automotive. Comes back to thinking about how we use products, designing them for what the actual functionality is, and being more, I suppose, innovative in what we're actually producing, what we're consuming, and also thinking about end of life and what materials we've been using and how do we trace those, and then being able to break that down at end of life and reuse it. I think there's a number of things. I think, again, companies can be more sustainable, more effective in what they're producing. So again, trying to move away from the mass production of things and hoping that, and trying to speculate what the market will be like when you get there, that you're actually able to produce what you need, when you need it, where you need it. An interesting project last year that we worked on was around at the design stage, understanding what the energy consumption of the 3D printing process would be to produce a part. So you design something, the software package will then tell you how much energy will be consumed depending on which 3D printing process you're going to use. So at that stage, you can go back and either use less material or create a thinner wall, and then look at what the energy consumption will be before you make that final decision of going and producing that part. The initial question when people come in isn't which faculty or department are you from, it's how can we help you, what's the challenge, what project are you working on, and how can we help you achieve your goals through the use of additive manufacturing or scanning technology. So we have architecture students, we have students from fashion and textiles, we have business students, and we have all of the engineering and computer scientists coming in, sports students, people interested in biomechanics. The possibilities are endless. So I'm always saying, just regardless of what the discipline is, come and explore it, and you'll find an aspect that helps you in your day-to-day work or your project work. So one of the kind of most exciting things that kind of happened in that regard is one of our students, Mark Chester, from a few years ago, who did our MSc, and as part of that, Mark created a bench, like a park bench, but that was only supported on one side, and it's got this wonderful organic shape to it. So he put this on Twitter over the weekend when he created it, and posed the question, if you saw this in a park, which side of the bench would you sit on? One of the vice presidents within Autodesk saw this post on Twitter and wanted to meet Mark. So Mark was then flown to the US with support from the university as well, and Autodesk decided to actually manufacture the bench. But it's a centerpiece in Print City, and if you come into Print City, please sit on the bench and take photos on the bench and use the hashtag on the bench. But it really embodies what we're about around the innovation, the education and the collaboration, and encouraging students to blog about their work. The opportunities that brought about for Mark, and also building our collaboration with a company like Autodesk has been wonderful.
So my name's Amma Gaffer. I'm the director of the Manchester Fuel Cell Innovation Centre here at Manchester Metropolitan University. The Fuel Cell Centre was developed as a concept as an evolution to a project that we set up here at the university in 2013. So we set up a public-private partnership called the Greater Manchester Hydrogen Partnership with Greater Manchester Combined Authority, some industrial partners, some smaller businesses, and some of our academic team to really look at what role hydrogen fuel cell technology could play within the city region, in line with the ambitions that we have for net zero in the UK. The university has made a commitment to become net zero by 2038. That is alongside the commitment made by Greater Manchester Combined Authority to be net zero by the same date. Now, that is a very ambitious target, and it's 12 years ahead of everyone else. So hydrogen is really seen as a potential opportunity to achieve net zero, and it will be deployed in quite large quantities. So to give you some context of that, there's already 90 million metric tons of hydrogen used globally, but it's produced from fossil fuels. To get to 2038, it's going to cost quite a lot of money. And so if we take Greater Manchester as a region that we live in, the cost of achieving net zero by 2038 is around £64 billion. Some of that has to be spent on innovation. And I think that's the opportunity that we provide here at the university. So it's not just about installing lots of infrastructure, or it's not even just about the research. It's how do you develop an ecosystem that is going to be suitable for many purposes? Because by deploying technology like this, you're not only just solving the ambition of net zero or contributing to the ambition of net zero, you're creating an economy. So the economy that is going to be required will involve multiple disciplines to kind of come together to solve these challenges. So net zero is globally is a large problem, but it's equally going to cost trillions to get to net zero. So that means that there's a huge opportunity for multiple businesses and multiple researchers to kind of come together to understand the policies that are being created by even our government, see how do we get to net zero. I think the university has become a real leader in this field, not only regionally, but also nationally, now internationally. So if you take the last few years, we have continued to support multiple businesses, and we've continued to do more and more research projects within this space. But what we have done is kind of made a global position for ourselves in that we are probably quite up there in the grand scheme of hydrogen innovation in getting people to understand the role of this technology and how an ecosystem can work together. But we have a dedicated schools program that has now run for quite a few years. That is now delivered in 10 countries and in multiple languages. It supports thousands of teachers and thousands of students on a weekly basis. So it's teaching people about how hydrogen is becoming an economy. So it's not just a research challenge anymore. It's now turning into an economy. So what we're also then doing is supporting the ambition of a future workforce, but also a future economy, which involves the critical role of infrastructure. At the moment, there is no hydrogen infrastructure in Greater Manchester, and there is limited infrastructure across the UK and globally. So we're helping for city regions like this to understand how the infrastructure could be deployed and what we will need alongside that infrastructure. So we need to contain the temperature to 1.5 degrees because climate change is obviously becoming more and more real. So all we do is kind of help people to understand the role that this technology could play within that ambition. And I say all we do, that's quite a challenge, because the toughest part of all of this is getting people to understand the role of technologies like this, but equally what they can do to help address the issue of climate change. So if I had to look and say, what is net zero? And there's not many people who probably understand what net zero means. We've talked about sustainability for 20, 30, 40 years. The last 3-4 years especially, we've kind of honed that down towards net zero, net zero, net zero. So the net zero delivery that is happening on the ground is quite real to see. So we're seeing more electric cars being introduced on our roads. We're seeing more opportunities for heat pump technology. There's now 52 hydrogen roadmaps globally. Last year, there was 26. So you can see how quickly and at what pace this is moving along. The whole hydrogen economy is worth around $500 billion today, but it's emerging very, very quickly, and it's increasing exponentially. What makes Manchester unique in this context is it's got the most ambitious target of any city region in the UK. So 2038 is a real challenge. It is a science-based target. we now recognise that it's a financial burden to many of the residents here, and it's going to cost around 64 billion. So how do we address that? Some of that is through innovation, but equally, I think what Manchester is really good at is collaboration. So it's not just about technology deployment, it's about infrastructure, it's about skills, it's about consumer confidence as well. So at the moment, like I said, there's no hydrogen infrastructure in Greater Manchester. The point we get to when hydrogen infrastructure becomes real and people can actually see it being developed, people are going to start asking the question, how is that going to impact my life? So we need to get people to understand the role that this technology will have. Other challenges that we face are, how do you commercialize technology like this? So we're looking at addressing the materials challenges. That's the core of what we do and what we do well here in the university. Then it's around the digital challenge. How do you move this energy around? Then it's around the financial challenge. Who's going to pay for this all? So we need financial experts to understand the role of sustainable finance, how projects can be financed that will help address ambitions of net zero. Studying at Manchester Met is very good in the sense that for the last 10 years, we've been the most sustainable university in the UK. You know, we've been number one or we've been in the top three. We've not really fallen outside of that area. And I think some of that is down to the fact that we are based in a city region which again has the most ambitious target of achieving net zero in the UK. Now, with that, A is a challenge, B is the opportunity. So a lot of the sector that they would potentially want to work in all recognises this target, and they want to sort of help achieve that target. So I think, given the fact that we are the most sustainable, or one of the most sustainable universities in the country, and we are in a city that has the most ambitious target across the UK, it provides that real opportunity for you to work in sustainability or net zero across multiple sectors.
Finally, we're going to hear from Professor Liz Price, who is Deputy Pro-Vice-Chancellor for Sustainability at Manchester Metropolitan and responsible for driving sustainability into every aspect of the university's strategy.
I'm Liz Price. I'm a Professor of Environmental Education and I am Deputy Pro-Vice-Chancellor for Sustainability. It's the right thing to do and it's really important. We're facing a biodiversity and climate crisis. But secondly, our students expect us to do it and want us to do it. Our students are really passionate about this and interested about it. Our staff are really engaged and really keen for us to do it. And our stakeholders, so our local community, people who employ our students, people we collaborate with in the city, regionally, nationally and internationally, all think it's really important. We're really pleased that we have been in the top 3 for the last 10 years, which shows our long-term commitment to this. But we are not at all complacent. We know that there is so much more to do. So we've always had the approach of trying to improve. And we started many years ago when actually a student went to then Vice Chancellor when we were much lower in the league and said, you know, this really isn't good enough. The university really needs to take sustainability seriously. It's been a sustained effort over a long period. And what People and Planet does is it looks at how we do in terms of our environmental performance, in terms of carbon, for instance, waste, water, biodiversity, but also how we embed education for sustainable development in our programmes and what our reputation is in terms of social responsibility. So it's a whole range of factors. So it's something that people have embraced and academic staff across the university have embraced as something that they want to carry forward together, because sustainability is relevant to absolutely every discipline, and it doesn't really matter what career path or life path you choose. Sustainability is really important. Well, we've just launched our new sustainability strategy, and that's got 4 goals, and those are leadership in sustainability. So we're sector leading in terms of supporting everything that we do is linked to sustainability and supporting other organisations in that way. We have academic innovation and impact, and that means that education for sustainable development and climate literacy will be embedded in all our programmes, but also that our research will make a significant difference to the sustainable development goals. The third goal is campus and practices. So we want to have a lovely living lab approach to a sustainable campus, so everybody can see it to believe it, if you like. When they walk around our campus, they can see sustainability in practice. And then the final goal is partnerships, and that's really working with our local, regional, national and international partners to make sure that sustainability adds value to everything we do. Every job is going to be a green job. Every job is going to be a sustainability job, not in terms of being purely aligned to sustainability. It's about every job will need to see their role through a sustainability lens. So whether it's in finance, or whether it's in human resources, or whether it's in technology, whatever kind of role you do, you will have an impact on sustainability. I think quite often young people have rightly criticised the sort of academic community for not communicating very clearly about sustainability and climate change. They're seen as quite obtuse subjects sometimes, and people feel quite a lot of climate anxiety, for instance. And what we really want to do through our sustainability strategy is equip our students to feel confident to make those changes in their future lives, because they can make a difference, and we can turn things around if we all work together to do that. And it's a real priority that we equip our students to be the change agents of the future. But it has to be relevant to their discipline. Our students choose their disciplines because they're interested in them, they're passionate about them, they think they're important. So our approach has been very much to embed it within their disciplines, within the subjects. It kind of will become a lens through which our students see their discipline. So then they can go into their workplace and be change agents. I was talking to somebody a little while ago, and they take on a number of graduates every year. And those graduates came in with really fantastic ideas about sustainability, and they were educating the people in their own workplace. And now everybody in the workplace is on board with that agenda. It's also important for our students because we meet with employers very regularly, and they tell us we need graduates who have education for sustainable development background, skills and knowledge, so they can help us to make the changes that we are required to make. So it's fantastic for graduate employability, but also hopefully interesting. A number of factors. I mean, since I was very young, I've always been interested in the environment. My background is a biologist and ecologist, and I was fascinated when I was very young by somebody called Jacques Cousteau, but he was an amazing marine conservationist, and just made me think, wow, this is absolutely amazing. And I loved doing biology at university. I moved more into sustainability because of the global agenda, and because of the importance that is now placed on the Sustainable Development Goals. I'm really keen on helping our students find exciting, innovative, interesting things to do that will ignite their passion. We were the first university to train our students to be carbon literate, and a lot of our students have gone on to be carbon literacy trainers. And I thought it would be absolutely fantastic if our students could train our senior colleagues in carbon literacy. Led by my colleague Rachel Dunk, our carbon literacy student trainers trained all the senior colleagues in the university in carbon literacy. And it was really impactful. All the senior leaders in the university knew what it was about and felt incredibly committed to it. And that's down to our students, led by Rachel Dunk, our students training our senior colleagues. And I think that's something that's really did make a difference.